Ad Infinitum feels like a troll game at times, and I say that solely because of how often it gives the player a gun and then yanks it out of their hands without letting them use it. A walking simulator set in the horrors of World War I, Ad Infinitum's story should be familiar to just about anyone who has played one of these games before. You're a guy with psychological trauma who must endure tortures, both real and imaginary, in order to get the closure you deserve, or face the punishment you deserve, should you choose that path. Developed by Hecate and published by who else but Nacon, Ad Infinitum is intelligently crafted. Old mansions during storms are creepy as hell, and when it comes to horror set in war, you can't do much better than World War I with its cramped trenches and all the other miserable stuff that went on. Also, old hospitals are scary. Ad Infinitum is so easy a dead gopher could beat it, and I can say that because I died 6 years ago and you're listening to my spirit continuing to play games and make YouTube videos. I only died at a couple of points over the 3 to 4 hour campaign, and it was only because the game either broke the doors or broke AI pathing. Otherwise, you pretty much have to try to die to the enemies in this game. They're so basic in terms of strategy and non-threatening and how slow they are. I actually enjoyed the first chapter of the game more than the second or third, and that's because it felt like it had the most danger. There are a few game mechanics and almost all of them are entirely cosmetic or aren't used much. It uses the Amnesia style of opening doors by holding the trigger and pulling the joystick. But while frictional games gave that function a use in sneaking around or tension and escaping enemies, here it doesn't do anything. You're given matches to light up lanterns, but again, it doesn't affect the game at all. And you have an infinite number of matches despite finding more packs throughout the game. Otherwise, the game loves to show you mechanics you can only use once or twice. Using a siren to lure blind enemies so you can sneak behind them is interesting. Using divots in the trench wall to avoid a big demon dog. Using your flashlight to stun enemies that are afraid of light. They're all interesting ideas, but they're gone so fast that the game actually spends more time teasing them than actually using them. It's almost condescending how many times the game pops up a reminder about hiding from enemies in Chapter 1, only for the mechanic to be used one sequence in Chapter 2. Games like Ad Infinitum exist pretty much to show off the developer's animation, assets, and soundtrack talent, and the presentation is quite well done. When the game hits, it does hit hard, even though you quickly come to realize when you're in danger and when you aren't. A lot of the horror beats are completely predictable. No, wait, all of the horror beats are completely predictable. You can tell when the spooky stuff is going to happen because the game usually goes into a cutscene. But when the presentation goes wrong, it gets pretty bad. Maybe it's because the game doesn't need a high-intensity soundtrack playing when there's literally nothing happening. Horror is a lot like comedy in that the key to success is all in your timing. The big difference is that in horror, the build-up can often be more rewarding than the payoff if you know what the audience expects and how to subvert it. On the other hand, it does have a better gas mask than Poppy Playtime. Ad Infinitum would be a lot more egregious if the game didn't take a mere 3 to 4 hours to beat. I'd also be more annoyed if I actually paid $35 dues for it as opposed to renting the PS5 version from Gamefly. Not sponsored. I recommend it for a rental, and that's pretty much it. Or pick it up when it's under 10 bucks. Like and subscribe for more of these videos.